There's been 4 new cars added to the most recent update in Automobilista 2, so let's go through them. Hello, I'm Group Designs, a visually impaired gamer, streamer and livery designer, and I want to go through the most recent update added to Automobilista 2, which in my opinion is the best racing sim on the market. I've had 4 new cars added to the Lamborghini Dream Pack Part 2, which is the Lamborghini Miura SV, the Diablo SVR, the Revuelto and the Murcielago R-GT. So without further ado, let's go through them. So the pack on Steam is $8.99. There is also a deal on at the minute, not for the current DLC, but for the old DLC, so get yourself a little deal. This deal is on until the 6th of October. There is so many deals so regularly on Steam, you can always get the older content at a very decent price. Now the first car I tested was the Lamborghini Murcielago. This goes into the GT1 category, and I think it's actually the most enjoyable car from the update. It is super quick, very agile. The back end does like to step out from time to time if you're pushing a little bit too hard or the tyres aren't quite up to temperature, but that's part of the enjoyment of the car. There is a little tendency of understeer, but that is soon solved with a boot full of throttle. But overall it is a super enjoyable car to drive. The responsiveness is fantastic, it's very agile once you get everything up to temperature, and you kind of expect the understeer and just floor the throttle. The engine is absolutely brutal. So moving on to the second of the cars I drove, the Revuelto. It is the most modern of the cars added in the update. A road car, so a little different from the Murcielago we've just been in. So it is definitely softer and more forgiving in the corners, as you see me getting it a little bit wrong there. You have to be a lot more patient on the car, which you would have to be with it being a road car. But big slides are a lot easier to catch. As I say, the car is a little bit more forgiving. I think this update is fantastic in that the cars behave how you'd expect them to. The race cars can be very aggressive and very brutal over the curbs, for example, and the road cars a little bit softer. And now ignore the shirt, I filmed this on 2 separate days, but my favourite part of the car isn't anything to do with the handling or the engine or the visuals. It's the physics of the game. When you go over curbs, the bonnet shakes and vibrates as it would. What other sim is adding this level of detail? At this point I jumped into the third car in the list, the Diablo, taking it around an era-appropriate Monza. So it was a little bit learning the car and learning this layout of the circuit as well. So like with the Murcielago, this is a race car, but they feel worlds apart. With so many years between them, you can feel how much development has gone on between the two chassis. The Diablo feels less responsive, the weight balance isn't anywhere near as good. The car's still fantastic to drive, but it's a lot more of a lazier car to drive. And the engine just doesn't quite have that same response as the more modern Murcielago or the Revuelto, which is exactly how you'd expect it to drive. In the few laps that I did, I found quite an interesting driving technique. Because that engine is slower to respond, you can actually get on the throttle really early in the corner, and the engine then just takes a little bit of time and you just power out of the corner, which is fantastic. And so finally onto the Miura, an icon in its own right, but it is the car that I found most difficult to get on with. It is the most unstable of the 4 cars, the least powerful and the least responsive. But it's what you'd expect. I genuinely think they've nailed it. You really have to work to get the front end of this car to turn in. It's a car that would be perfect going around a mountain road in the south of Italy, and on a racetrack, it does kind of struggle. You really have to drive the car loaded up through the corners, get the suspension loaded with the weight of the car, and keep that pressure on those tyres. Not enough to overload the front tyres, which is very easy to do. Big heavy engine up front and the very soft suspension makes it incredibly difficult to drive. But then it is even more rewarding when you get it right. I genuinely think they have nailed these 4 cars. Each one has their own characteristics, their own unique driving styles, their own way to make them fast. The Murcielago is my own personal favourite, and I'm pretty sure there will be others that enjoy the Diablo more, that will enjoy the Revuelto more, others that will enjoy the Miura because of its heritage. So do let me know what you think of the 4 cars and which one's your favourite down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, do consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does help the channel grow, and click this video if you want to watch another one. So have a fantastic day and keep plodding on.